To politics now, and the catchphrase of the week, class warfare. That's what Republicans say the president's new jobs plan is. It includes tax increases for some wealthy Americans, and it has sparked a larger debate, one that includes Massachusetts Senate candidate Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat who hasn't yet signed on to the president's plan.
Well, this is class warfare, this is whatever. No, there is nobody in this country who got rich on his own. Nobody. You built a factory out there, good for you, but I want to be clear. You moved your goods to market on the roads the rest of us paid for. Yep. You hired workers the rest of us paid to educate. You were safe in your factory because of police forces and fire forces that the rest of us paid for.
Our panel today, MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan, roll call political reporter Shira Toeplitz, and managing editor of thegrio.com, Joanne Reed, also an MSNBC contributor, whom I'll begin with since she's here within reaching distance. So Joanne, after good morning to all of you, is that the best defense of the president's millionaire tax plan? That what you heard Elizabeth Warren saying?
Yeah, I think Elizabeth Warren, she's got the fever. She sounds like a real politician out there on the stump. I think that is because it's a basic fairness argument. I think the problem for Republicans is they have to find a way to defend millionaires and billionaires when everyone else is hurting. So I think what she's doing taps into people's kind of pain and anger at the guys who ripped off the economy.
So, Pat, does that mean this line of argument will get the president's jobs plan passed?
No, I think the president's made a terrible mistake. The jobs plan, there's a lot of good ideas in there. The Republicans liked them. But when he goes for this class warfare stuff and $1.5 trillion in new taxes and millionaires and billionaires, you know, what Elizabeth Warren said, I think is ineffectual for this reason. That businessman who put that factory there, he pays a higher rate of taxation than anybody else. He contributes more taxes than anyone else. And in addition to that, he hires all these people and gives them jobs. And he, quite frankly, is the indispensable individual when it comes to job creation. Others have contributed as well, but to knock the factory owner, I think it's class warfare.
Shira, does the GOP think it can get any traction on the millionaire tax question with the class warfare argument?
I think they have gotten quite a bit of traction. Look, it's dominated this entire week's conversation about the president's jobs plan. I'm sure President Obama would much rather be talking about the details and hearing a little more excitement from Congress about his job plan, and instead we're talking about class warfare and whether or not it's fair to tax people who make $1 million or more than people who make less than that.
Yeah, that may be, but when you're talking about $1 million salary or, you know, money coming in from people, the general public out there thinks, look, you make so much more, you need to contribute more considering where we are right now.
Right, and I think Republicans would counter that argument by saying people who make that much money already do pay more in terms of actual dollar amounts in some cases. I think one of the more interesting side storylines that came out of this week were the reporters who tried to call Warren Buffett's secretary. Warren Buffett, of course, famously wrote that op-ed about how he isn't taxed, he's taxed less than his secretary. Well, Warren Buffett makes a lot more money than his secretary, and apparently his secretary didn't want to talk about her salary. I can't imagine why.
So, Joanne, then tell me why it's not class warfare and why this might be a losing proposition for those who try to pursue that tactic.
Right. I think that the problem is in an up economy, when everyone's making money, everybody feels good, like in the roaring 90s, people kind of sort of look up to the rich. You got a lot of Cribs-type shows. People sort of think the rich are kind of cool. In a down economy, the middle class feels poor, so they don't identify with the rich. They turn from being aspirational to saying, hey, hold on a second, why does that guy get all those tax breaks while I'm getting, you know, the shaft in this economy? And that's what's happened to the middle class. The middle class feels poorer now, so that they don't really have a lot of sympathy for hedge fund managers and CEOs.
Pat, yeah.
Well, look, the tax rate now on well-to-do folks who are doing well is 35%. New York State probably adds 10 to 12% state and local. You got Social Security taxes, you got sales taxes, you got property taxes. Up there in New York, a fellow that's doing well can pay up to 60% of what he earns in taxes, whereas if you're talking about federal taxes and state income taxes, almost half the country don't pay any. I mean, they're completely exempt from income taxes. So I think, again, you get into this class warfare. We all ought to contribute something, no doubt about it, but the fact that well-to-do folks aren't contributing is simply not true.
But Alex, can I just say real quick, because the flaw in Pat's argument is that most people who are very wealthy, they're not paying primarily their taxes out of their income tax. They're paying it on the dividends and on the investment earnings, capital gains. That's a 15% rate. So most rich people are paying at the 15% rate because that's where their money comes from.
But you know, Barack Obama himself said we need more investment. You're talking about the tax on investment capital. That's capital gains at 15%. What sense does it make if we need more investment for more jobs to double or triple the tax rate?
It worked in the 90s. It's not doubling or tripling. It's going back to the Clinton rates when I recall we had a great economy and people made a lot of money.
If it's at 15%, you take it to 35, it is more than doubling.
We're not talking about, I don't think the president has talked about that. We're talking about having wealthy people who pay most of their taxes out of dividend income at 15% pay the same rate of taxation as middle-class people who are paying up to 30%. That's the problem.
You know, Bill Clinton was one of those that helped take the rate down for that very reason, that we want people to invest in things where they get dividends, where they get investment return, because that's how you get jobs. That's how you grow an economy.
All right, listen, you guys, we're going to have to wrap that there as we have more to talk about. In a moment, we're going to rate the week, and that's going to include Mitt Romney's debate performance, and will that help him gain ground on Rick Perry? We'll be right back.